If only Donald Trump did this to all of the politicians that are trying to get us into another pointless war.
You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
As some people are saying, that's exactly what he is already doing to a country that we are getting the reports in right now could be going in alone when it comes to the bombing of Iran and engulfing the Middle East in more turmoil and conflict. All of this is happening as podcaster, comedian Theo Vaughn had some very interesting comments to say about the expanding geopolitical conflicts in the Middle East that keep expanding as Donald Trump really isn't doing the best of jobs to try to extinguish that. Tim Pool had some criticisms of Theo Vaughn that I actually disagree with that I will be talking about in this particular video, as there's also some very interesting comments from Tim Dillon that we are going to be playing in this particular video, as there's a lot to discuss here, especially when it comes to all the latest news and developments that are heating up inside of the Middle East as tensions between the United States and Israel definitely are growing. We're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more, all here in this independent media report, which you should subscribe to and click the notification button for. As, of course, you're going to get coverage here that you probably won't be getting anywhere else. As a lot of people, when talking about this particular issue, usually go full Riri in either one way or another. And, I don't like to just chill or cater for one particular viewpoint. I think the truth, especially when it comes to this particular case, is somewhere down the middle, a little bit to the right, and a little bit against the current kind of status quo establishment that truly is trying to outlaw any criticism that is destroying free speech in America. That, to me, is the real issue here, as the Vice President of the United States just decided to cancel his trip to Israel because he did not want to be seen validating Israel's decision to expand the war in Gaza. The Israeli government has pulled up reservists, and it looks like they are going to be starting their most extensive ground operation into Gaza, into a region and territory that they have denied medical aid to, as well as food supplies, as well as water, as a lot of people are talking about how they are creating a massive humanitarian crisis. All of this, as it looks like Israel wants a new conflict, as CNN is reporting here that there's new intelligence that is suggesting that Israel is preparing a possible strike on Iran without the United States' help and assistance, as they want to get rid of the Iranian nuclear facilities. And again, they have been trying to do this for a very long time. Ever since we did, the Iraq war, which, by the way, Benjamin Netanyahu came to the United States in order to galvanize the United States to do it. He said the same thing that he just said a couple weeks ago here in the United States, and that was that Iraq, they have weapons of mass destruction. They have nuclear weapons, and they're going to use it against you. Therefore, you need to go in there, and the world's going to be a better place when you do. And guess what? That didn't happen. The world was a way worse off place, as 1 million plus people passed away. We got the spread of radical jihadism. Iran got more powerful through the Bush-Iraq war, and we have seen senseless amounts of our money, our civil liberties, just drain down the toilet with this neoconservative project for a new American century, which, of course, he wants to conclude and continue. As just a few days ago, he was talking to the U.S. government and saying, hey, guys, remember Iraq? Iran's doing the same thing. Iran has nuclear weapons, and the world's going to be a way better place when you guys are going to invade them, when you guys bomb them for us, and then you're going to defend us afterwards. You got that? You're going to do that? Chop, chop, Trump, let's go. Do it. Trump said, do what? Excuse me? There was a big rift. The national security advisor got fired because he was back-channeling with Benjamin Netanyahu, literally going against the wishes of Donald Trump, trying to get us to bomb Iran. He's now the UN spokesperson for some strange reason, even though I believe that guy should have been fired for clearly trying to undo American policies based on a foreign government that clearly he was serving predominantly over America. Now, the article here reads, The U.S. government has obtained new intelligence suggesting that Israel is making preparations to strike Iran's nuclear facilities, even as the Trump administration has been pursuing a diplomatic deal with Tehran. Now, the diplomatic deal isn't going too good here, as there's really no plan B here. The negotiations aren't going well, predominantly mainly because China is buying up a lot of Iran's oil, and Donald Trump saying, hey, we'll buy your oil, doesn't really make sense for Iran, who's saying, why should we bend the knee to something that we don't need to do, as we're able to sell a lot of our energy resources out there, and we don't need you to lift sanctions because we have China. We also have Russia now that we're closely aligned with, as now we're getting information from U.S. officials. Again, these are anonymous people, so take this with a grain of salt, saying such a strike would be a brazen break with President Donald Trump. And again, Israel has done that, especially with them, bombing Gaza, as we had multiple Middle Eastern leaders saying, yeah, Israel bombing a hospital during the time that we were doing negotiations actually stopped the hostages from being traded, actually stopped the hostages from being released here. And we had multiple leaders confirm that in the Middle East there. Them bombing Gaza when Donald Trump was speaking in Saudi Arabia, also a very big kind of screw you to Donald Trump, who has been giving Israel almost everything they wanted to up until this latest point with his Middle Eastern trip. Now, before talking about that and a lot more, we wanted to tell you about LukeUnfiltered.com. If you haven't signed up for that, what are you waiting for? Sign up. It's quick, it's easy, it's simple. You literally just click the description. When you do, this page pops up. You sign up for whatever you could afford. $15 is great. You click here, put in your information, you check your spam, you make sure you're able to, of course, get the login credentials. The login credentials go to your spam for some strange reason. So just double check your spam here. And then you get access to 13 plus years of videos centered around helping you become the best, strongest, most amazing version of yourself. 3 master classes, and we do a lot of really cool things. We just did a range day a couple days ago here in Miami. We most likely will be doing a meetup this upcoming Monday in Las Vegas, probably at a cigar lounge. Occasionally, once in a blue moon, like once every 4 months, I like to smoke a cigar personally, and this could be the time that I'm going to do it with you guys. You guys don't have to smoke here, but I like camaraderie. I like meeting people. I like getting to know people. I like getting to know people that are investing in us. And you guys are a part of a chat room. The chat room was like, hey, I want you to interview this guy. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually a great idea. Let's do that. We interviewed Anton in the previous video, who gave us some really interesting, deep insights into what's happening in South Africa and the crazy situations that he had to go through, where the government literally prevented him from being able to operate a business because he was white. Again, crazy stuff happening there. Check out that video. It's worth watching. But I did that video because you guys are a part of a chat room that is only available for members of LukeUnfiltered.com. I was just chatting with you guys. I could chat with you one-on-one. Sign up to LukeUnfiltered.com right now. And we will be talking and working and meeting and doing some really cool, awesome, fun stuff. Now, let's continue on here as we are finding out that this strike could be tipping off a broader regional conflict in the Middle East. Yeah, you think so? Obviously. There's a reason Israel wanted the United States to bomb Iran and then protect it afterwards, because Iran has essentially a huge section of the Muslim world, the Shiite section of the Muslim world, in their corner. Now, a lot of their proxies and allies have been just absolutely obliterated and destroyed by Israel. Israel looks like they just don't want to stop. They want to continue. They want to expand. There's a lot of regional instability also in Syria. As Marco Rubio said, it's only just a matter of weeks until there's going to be a massive civil war there based off Sunni, Shiite, Kurdish, Alawite, religious minorities that, of course, will all be just going at it with each other, creating another tension type of situation where there even might be a situation where Turkey, that has been speaking very aggressively against Israel, could potentially get involved here, specifically when it comes to potentially taking over the Syrian territory. Now, the United States has been going to Israel and saying, hey, can you guys do the ceasefire? In the beginning of Trump's presidency, they did a ceasefire. Trump was seen as the guy who pushed Bibi Netanyahu to do that. The ceasefire ended. Israel blamed Hamas. Hamas blamed Israel. back and forth, whatever. A lot of people say it was actually Israel that actually made sure that this wasn't followed through. And Donald Trump's again. It's like, hey, can you guys just do a ceasefire? We're trying to make some business deals here. This is not really convenient for business. You guys blowing each other up, inflaming tensions, and then just starting all these fights. And we don't need to do this. We need to make money. We need to make deals. We need to, of course, make some good decisions here. And the Israeli government is like, nope, we're going to do what we want. And now they are expanding their conflict. They are still going forward with it against the wishes of the United States. And now they might even take it further here. As I think this is an article released by some sources within the government right now saying, hey, this is serious. And this looks like it's serious. And it looks like they're tipping off the world in order to try to prevent this kind of military action from taking place here. Because it's not going to be one airstrike by Israel that's going to wipe off the nuclear kind of facilities from the Iranians here. It's going to be a big prone attack. Now, this would be a huge mistake here. But Israel sees Iran at its weakest in decades, and yes, they got rid of all their proxies. Now, will they say, you know what? Yeah, we're going to take it. We're going to take this action. We need to strike now. We'll see. And I think it would be just foolish. I think it would create so much instability. It would be just reckless. And you know what? It could still frickin' happen. Now, Gaza ceasefire talks also leading nowhere, according to the Qatari prime minister, coming out and saying there's a big fundamental gap here between the two parties. They are not coming together. They are not agreeing to any of the ceasefire here. Now, a lot of the hostages that are being talked about being released, by the way, are soldiers. We're talking about prisoner exchanges. It's not just, there are some hostages, but there are also just soldiers that were captured here. There's a big distinction here, as of course, release all the hostages. Release all the prisoners? Well, okay, Israel has some prisoners that are Hamas. Will Israel trade them and release them? That's what's kind of being negotiated here. And now enters Theo Vaughn, a podcaster, a comedian, who just came from Qatar. As now we have the thing, he's Qatar, he's a Qatari influence. I don't think he is. I think he's a little bit genuine here. You can kind of see it in his eyes. I don't think he's full of crap here. I think he shares a lot of sentiment of what a lot of Americans feel, but a lot of them are too afraid to say anything. Since there's literal laws and legislation on the books now that are preventing you from even being able to speak freely about this issue. Yes, we're spending resources. We're spending ICE and Homeland Security resources investigating political op-eds that people who are illegally in this country are expressing. And instead of going after Epstein client list, instead of going after the predators, the real monsters, the real big they're sending their limited resources to go after college students and people who have protested. Now, whether you agree with those protests or not, it's fair to say that all the laws that are being passed here are a little bit freaking ridiculous. As I think what Theo Vaughn here is talking about might not be the most kind of well-rounded perspective here, but it's a perspective that I think definitely is missing from the corporate mainstream lexicon that I think is important to at least listen to.
I wanted to say something. There's been something that's just been kind of on my heart, and so I feel like I should bring it up. There is, we've had people on the podcast in the past to talk about it, and there's a conflict that's been happening in the Middle East. People know about it, between Israel and Palestine and some of the areas over there, the Gaza area they talk about. And I just think it feels to me, I don't know if it feels to me like it's a genocide that's happening while we're alive here in front of our lives.
Yeah, and now a lot of people are having a lot of opinions about the word genocide here. Tim Pool came out and said, it's one thing to criticize the war. It's another to call it a genocide. Massive swing to one side on an issue he doesn't know much about. I can't disagree with that. I think there are legitimate arguments to make here as there's like 14,000. This is according to the UN's humanitarian chief coming out and even saying there's 14,000 babies that are not getting any type of sustenance, aid, help, or support. I mean, when you look at some of the footage here, I mean, there's even ex-Israeli generals coming out here and saying, hey, there's going to be a lot of children that are not going to make it because of these restrictive policies that blockade aid coming into this specific region. I mean, come on. You're locking them in, right? And then you're denying them aid. You're denying them food. You're denying them water. Okay, I don't think it's a far type of argument to say that doesn't look good. Okay, that's not something that is right or just, in my opinion. And I think. Listen, Donald Trump's not happy about this. I'm not happy about this. Lots of people aren't happy about this, and we should be able to voice our dissenting opinions on this.
And I don't. Sometimes I feel like I should say something. I'm not a geologist or geographer or anything like that, so I don't know.
You don't need to be a geologist. Theo.
A lot of some of it I do know, though. Like, I know the basics of the issues over there, but for me, it's just like how I feel like you see all these photos of people, just children, women, people, body parts, just people like putting their kids back together.
There are some horrible videos, and when you look at and you start searching and you start seeing, it is absolutely tragic and horrible, and it does have an impact, and it does pull on your heartstrings. And depending on what your algorithm and what you search for, people get different things, and it's pretty clear. A lot of people are being shown a side of this conflict that truly is very brutal and disgusting.
I just can't believe that we're watching that and that more isn't said about it. And so I'm not saying anyone else needs to say anything, but I think I'm just that more isn't said about it by me.
Yeah, listen, I don't understand why people are criticizing. I disagree with Tim here. I don't understand why people are criticizing him now. He's clearly being very careful with how he approaches the subject. He's, again, not perfect here, clearly. He's talking about studying rocks, not needing to study rocks to understand the situation. Okay, obviously, clearly not an expert, but he's also doing his best here. And I think doing his best at a conversation that too many people are too afraid to even approach. And that, to me, is something that in America is just weird. It's just a weird situation where so many people are afraid to say, hey, blocking people in and not giving them and stopping food delivery and water delivery and aid delivery and hospital delivery, and then, and continuing this conflict and then going up against everyone who's trying to stop it and not trying to stop it isn't the right move to make here. I don't understand why that's controversial. It shouldn't be.
So I just, I want to be able to speak up about that I think we're watching probably like, one of the sickest things that's ever happened. And I'm sorry if I've kind of haven't said about it. I've tried to talk about it and learn about it. But I don't know. Maybe I just wanted to say something. I don't even know what to do. And it's crazy because our country's also complicit in it. It's in it and has been for a long time. And it's just kind of interesting because then you just realize, oh, well, I'm a member of this country, but I'm just, what we want sometimes doesn't matter, and you just have to be a member of a place, and your government is making other choices. So I don't know if I said that correctly, or I don't even know exactly what I said, but I just have, it's just like been making me really sick, and I feel like I just needed to say something.
Yeah, I mean, all war is sick. All war is evil. It is satanic in its nature. It is hell on earth when humans decide to attack other human beings. It's pretty clear here. One country has an advantage. One country has the United States. One country has all of the military advanced hardware. The other guys, again, they're supported by the Muslim world. The Muslim world outnumbers the Israelis, sure. Some people argue that Israel needs to be as aggressive as they are because they are outnumbered and they need to show that they are tough in this region. I don't. Some people understand those arguments. I get it, but I think it's been a little bit too much. Okay. I think letting aid in is a good step. I think getting a ceasefire, even if you don't get everything you want, is a good deal. I mean, the United States, Donald Trump is saying, hey, listen, Russia, Ukraine, you guys are going to have to give something up here. We should do the same in this situation. We should say, listen, enough's enough. We're the ones that finance this. We're the ones that invested and spent all this money here, just like we did in Ukraine. Enough's enough. We cannot be financing this. We cannot be paying for this. We need to end and stop this now. Can we? I hope so. Here's the last tidbits from Theo.
That I think you don't have to think that. I'm not asking you to do anything. But I just have to say that so I'm not sitting by, there's that piece inside of me like, why wouldn't you, can't you say something? There's people that can't even speak and you can say something, and so that's how I just had to just speak up. Anyway, yeah. So just praying for those people and just the grief that is all going to cause. Just like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's a senseless, crazy conflict that, in my opinion, needs to stop. With it comes more economic prosperity. With it comes more stability to a very tumultuous geopolitical region. I wanted to play Tim Dillon, but I didn't get the chance to. But again, I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, the situation's getting out of hand. Donald Trump's not happy about it. I'm not happy about it. I think all of us in unison should be saying we're not happy about it because it's not a good situation to be in, especially when you actually see it, when you search for it, when you look for it, when you're shown it, and you have other people actually highlighting, look, this is the reality of just how brutal and aggressive and stupid and insane and evil this war could be. This is why we are predominantly anti-war. I don't care about the war, predominantly anti-war. And if you are too, get this video out there. I think more people need to speak up. I think more people need to raise their voices. I think more people need to, of course, have better conversations. The conversations have been stifled. They have been censored. And I think that is absolutely idiotic. Sign up to lukeunfiltered.com if you support the work that we do here. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on youtube.com/wearechange.